What's up people, BarryBigPlums here, coming at you with my brand spanking new list of the top 10 games I'd like to see hit the Xbox One backwards compatibility list ASAP. This list is in no particular order and of course it is personal preference. I hope you enjoy the list. See you soon. For all the folks present in the Fight Night Champion online community, one thing that cannot be overstated is the loyalty they present over the Fight Night brand. Fight Night Champion was released all the way back in 2011 and the game still has a small hardcore following online on both the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, keeping this game alive and well. When played in the spirit the game was intended to be played in, i.e. not being a spamming / cheesing arsehole online, this may very well be the best ever representation of the sweet science ever released in video game form. Every year E3 comes and goes with no mention of a new boxing game from EA, so I think a small consolation prize would be to make this game backwards compatible on the Xbox One. The online community has shrunk somewhat due to so many people selling their 7th gen consoles to buy either a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and this means less player base online in general. This game still looks absolutely amazing and plays great, and people are still currently able to scratch that boxing itch on the current gen consoles. Come on EA, you know it makes sense, add this game to the backwards compatibility list now. One of the original Microsoft franchises which started on the original Xbox all the way back in 2004 and later continued with Fable 2 and Fable 3 on the Xbox 360. The original 2004 game was remastered with a brand new engine for the Xbox 360 in 2013. The Fable series has a dry wit style sense of humour which is as British as a cup of Earl Grey tea, and was a great flagship RPG series for the Xbox brand, which is often criticised for having a lack of RPGs released on its console. The great news is that Phil Spencer of Xbox has recently confirmed that Fable Anniversary is in the works for backwards compatibility treatment to complete the collection with Fable 2 and 3, which are already available to play on the Xbox One presently. The updated graphics engine brought Fable Anniversary in line with its sequels in both the gameplay and graphics department, and I cannot wait to give this series another bash as a chicken chaser when the whole series is available on my Xbox One. I had personally never heard of the Darkness comics before the Darkness game was released on the Xbox 360, which is surprising as I grew up collecting Aliens and Predator Dark Horse comics and spent loads of time in comic shops when I was a kid. This revenge tale sees you playing as the mobster Jackie Estacado, becoming possessed by a dark entity known as the Darkness early in the game, but this power comes with a high price for those around Jackie himself. The Darkness is an over-the-top gore fest which you tear up hundreds of mobsters, goons and the like using your dark abilities, and this is a ton of fun. But where this game really shines is in the writing. The voice actor for the protagonist Jackie does a great job and gives an atmospheric monologue on each loading screen which really adds to the background and feeling of the game as well as the storytelling. However, the real star of the show is the Darkness itself, sometimes mocking, sometimes menacing, but always kick ass. The Darkness 2 should always come to the backwards compatibility list too, just for completionist sake. It's a good game, but for me, I love the Darkness 1. I hope this game comes to backwards compatibility list because I think more people should play it because I think it's a great game. Now I am fully prepared to accept that I am an Aliens fanboy. Even my body is permanently inked with Aliens and Predator tattoos to show my dedication to the brand. However, I feel that Aliens vs Predator 2010 was always an underrated gem on the Xbox 360 and PS3. I have personally played this game through several times, and after my soul was completely raped and destroyed by aliens colonial marines, it made me appreciate this game even more. This game nails the biting, clawing, bloody and visceral combat amazingly. At the end of the day, if a predator tears your head from your body, it will be bloody and brutal. Although the Xenomorph campaign is only a couple of hours long, it really nails the stealth aspect of stalking your prey from the shadows, and is incredibly satisfying when you see your inner mouth plunge inside the back of your unwilling victim's head. A special mention also for the Predator campaign, as this is the game that makes me feel like a real life big game hunter more than any other game featuring the Predator. And believe me, I have played them all over the years. I really love this game and hope it hits the BC list in the near future because I am a fanboy and I love it. thing that I'm a sucker for is a good co-op game which I can play with my pals. Probably 90% of the time I spent after completing the Overlord 2 campaign was spent playing online co-op with my pals with my British SA-80 rifle. After both Rainbow Six Vegas games have been released on the backwards compatibility list, I see no reason why Overlord 2 as well as the other Ghost Recon games have not been added either. When I think back to my prime years gaming online on the Xbox 360, some of my fondest memories were just playing the co-op missions online with my friends into the early hours of the morning. The closest thing we have to this game currently is Ghost Recon Wildlands, which itself is a good game, but for me personally the GRAW series is a more complete experience with a great single player campaign and also a completely separate co-op campaign which is different from the main campaign. With both the Rainbow Six games getting the BC treatment, I really feel that the GRAW series should be there too. Hoorah! The original Max Payne was released in the year 2001, 2 years after the original Matrix was released, and in 2001 you could see the influences from the Matrix in near enough every game was trying to implement slow motion guns, action sequences and bullet time, which at that time was the in thing. I was never that interested in the storytelling itself in Max Payne, to be honest. As I bought the game, I was just blown away by how awesome the gunplay felt. When you shot someone, it had a weight to the gunplay, and the way the bullets ripped through your opponents had a nice visceral feel, and you could literally empty the remainder of your gun clip into a down body during bullet time, seeing the bullets tear through their flesh, and it was pretty bloody satisfying. Bullet time was a thing in the early 2000s, it was everywhere, but not so much nowadays. Nowadays, sadly, it's wall running, jetpack bollocks and nonsense that game developers keep jamming down our throats. With the kick-ass gunplay and awesome feeling bullet time, I would love to see Max Payne 3 hit the backwards compatibility list. The best way I can describe Overlord is Pikmin with the settings and humour of the Fable series. The original Overlord game runs like absolute arse on the Xbox 360, but that never stopped me having some fun with the game. As a dastardly Overlord, you control your minions to wreak havoc in a land which looks very similar to Hobbiton from the Lord of the Rings franchise. At its heart, Overlord is a charming puzzle game using your 4 different types of minions to defeat various enemies and environmental hazards. As with previous games on the list, the best part of Overlord is in the writing and dialogue of the game. There were several times playing this game where I literally LOL'd heartily due to the dry wit of the writing. Special mention needs to go out to the minions themselves. They are full of character and show pure delight and glee at the random destruction they do under your command. The second game is also great and adds many new things such as mounts for your minions, but I preferred the first game because it was the first time I experienced Overlord itself. If you like Fable, maybe give this game a shot, and I hope it comes to the BC list very, very soon. The UFC Undisputed franchise was the first time we saw a realistic representation of mixed martial arts in video game form. Everything we had seen beforehand was arcade-like affairs on the Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. The grappling in this game was just pure magic, and you could play this game as a pure grappler and be effective. The third game was chock-a-block full of content and fan service, including a totally kick-ass Pride FC mode. The EA Sports UFC franchise is just pure crap in my opinion, as one of the worst online communities I've ever experienced, and I just feel the UFC Undisputed franchise is yet to be beaten. Even without online gameplay, I would be happy playing some old school Pride FC tournaments on my Xbox One. I have no faith in EA to make even a half decent MMA game, so honestly hope we get to play a half decent MMA game via backwards compatibility in the near future. If you ask a bunch of gamers what was the scariest horror game they ever experienced back in the day, you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance a high percentage of them will say Silent Hill 2. And in this case, the popular opinion is indeed the correct one, as Silent Hill 2 is an amazing horror game. But there is so much hidden content in this game that the average gamer will just not see. Every abomination James sees in this game is linked to his guilt complex, which unravels in the story and its supporting documentation, and it's really deep and clever stuff. Silent Hill 3 is great too, as it continues the story after Silent Hill 1, but for me personally, Silent Hill 2 stuck with me long after I completed the story mode. Pyramid Head is probably the most famous Silent Hill entity in the series, and this is the game where he makes his first appearance. We have had some great horror games on the 8th gen of consoles, such as Alien Isolation, Outlast and The Evil Within, but the Silent Hill franchise still holds a special place for many gamers. Hopefully we'll make the backwards compatibility list and scare the shite out of a new generation of gamers soon. Metal Gear Solid 5 is an awesome open world stealth game, but for me personally you cannot beat Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I love the jungle setting, I love the student and teacher storyline between the boss and Snake, and I just love the overall aesthetic, story, and to be honest, I just love the third game. That first time the boss beats the snot out of you in the beginning of the game before breaking your arm and tossing you off a bridge, or the final boss fight of the game with the game's signature theme Snake Eater playing in the background. I feel this game is a masterpiece and it may be my favourite game released in the PlayStation 2 era. Don't get me wrong, Metal Gear Solid 2 is a good game, but I always thought Raiden was a bit of a bellend and the story was confusing too, so it never really hit home with me the way the third game did. And to have arguably the best game in the Metal Gear Solid franchise available on Xbox 360 and not playable on the Xbox One seems a bit ludicrous to me, so hopefully it comes to the list in the very near future. Anyway guys, that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. Keep your eyes peeled for more top 10s coming soon.